Welcome to the Fin Talks, a chat with Finance Malta. Today we have Stephen McCarthy from the MDIA, who I will invite to introduce himself.
Yes, I'm Stephen McCarthy. I'm the CEO of the Malta Digital Innovation Authority.
Very good. And the Malta Digital Innovation Authority is the entity endowed with providing assurance on the technology being used. What exactly does this mean and what is your remit?
Okay, first of all, we have to say the MDIA has been set up about 2 years ago when there was a lot of hype with respect to blockchain and smart contracts. And at that time, when the government wanted to enact the law, one of the major problems was that the operators of smart contracts were promising one thing when in actual fact the software will do something different,
right,
or not exactly as was being promised. There were a lot of problems at that time 2 years ago with ICOs internationally, and the government wanted to tackle this problem. And by tackling this problem, one of the objectives of MDIA is to give assurance that the software which is being presented to use for users and even in the finance sector for investors was actually doing and performing exactly what is being promised.
Yeah.
And the only way to do it is to do an audit. In fact, we have our own accredited systems auditors, and to get green light stating that what is being written in English and promised by the operator is in fact being performed by the software itself.
Right.
And that is where we come in. Nowadays, that was 2 years ago, we were the first ones doing this kind of work. Now other institutions, including the EU, they're discussing in more detail in order to tackle this issue of giving assurance the software which is being used by users.
Great, thank you. And in fact, the MDIA built a certification program
Yes.
from scratch.
Yes.
It's I believe Malta was the first country to do
Yes,
this.
yes, exactly.
Can you talk us through the elements of what makes up this program?
Okay. That was a huge challenge 2 years ago because we couldn't look at other countries because we were the first doing it, So we created our own standards and requirements. Where basically we based our standards on the type of education, the experience required, and the rules and standards which we could look at other standards here and there from other institutions. And that is exactly what we did. We have our own standards. First of all, let me explain one very important fact. MDIA decided to go the road that it will not engage its own technical resources within MDIA to do the audit, because that would have been, first of all, you have to keep in mind that when we talk about blockchain has been around only for, at that time, especially only for about 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to find personnel and say, listen, I need 7 years experience, because you wouldn't find them, So what did we do at that time? What we have done at that time is that we collaborated with the audit firms.
Right.
And we made standards for audit firms to be accredited with us. So if they satisfy the necessary experience, the necessary education, and the necessary setup, they could be accredited with us. And what did we gain there? What we gained there is that if we're dealing, for example, with, I'm just putting as an example, KPMG, okay, who happen to be accredited with us, we're gaining from the fact that they have an international network of expertise. So if we don't have that expertise locally, we could use the expertise from their international network abroad, which could be put in, which we call, within inverted commas, subject matter experts. So if there is Ethereum and we want an expert on Ethereum, it doesn't necessarily have to be in Malta, but this international expert could be accredited as subject matter expert in that particular field. And in that way, we managed to have the best professionals internationally, not on the island, in order to do this audit, so that our audit is robust as much as possible. Once that audit is performed, then the audit report will come to us and we will issue the certification based obviously on the report which is issued by the systems auditors.
Okay, very good. And you mentioned blockchain. Blockchain was the first piece of technology that you supervised. How has your remit evolved since then?
Yes, it has evolved since then. Blockchain remains a very important technology. As you all know, blockchain is used also in cryptocurrencies, which is a very important element, at least nowadays after 2 years, because 2 years ago when we started, when I used to go abroad, there were some institutions and reputable institutions which sort of came to the conclusion that blockchain is equal to money laundering. You know, and basically I used to explain very often that first of all, blockchain is not restricted for the use only of finance, because blockchain can be used in all types of industries, health, education, etc., etc. And but now, and that has been accepted. I mean, it was accepted immediately. In fact, I had even meetings with local banks, and the local banks themselves, they explained to me, saying that, listen, we use blockchain ourselves, not through cryptocurrency, okay, but we use blockchain for trade finance. And that was very encouraging. Nowadays, we're going a step further. Nowadays, even digital currency is being discussed at EU level, because they're considering that the EU should have its own digital currency backed by the European Central Bank. And why? Funnily enough, why? Because it's transparent, traceable, controlled, etc., contrary to what critics were saying, contrary to what critics were saying 2 years ago. And that is now we are dealing with a totally different scenario. Having said that, MDIA is widening its remit. It's not restricting ourselves to DLT and smart contracts. We're widening our remit in cybersecurity, critical systems, etc., etc. So we will not only be certifying DLT and smart contracts, DLT one of them being blockchain, obviously, but we will also be certifying artificial intelligence, other technology that can come up, critical systems, etc., etc.
Okay, and linking to artificial technology, Malta has a national strategy on artificial intelligence. And how does this relate to, it's being overseen by the MDIA? What is involved in this strategy? What does it tell us? Where is it going?
Okay, first of all, there is a strategy which was launched about a year ago, and we're monitoring. First of all, one has to keep in mind that the way forward, whether it is financial sector, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is health, the way forward is to use this innovative technology. It's as simple as that. We don't have any way out. Okay, we have to use artificial intelligence, and government is giving a lot of importance to this. In fact, we have been given for this year 2 million funding as to incentivize businesses when it comes to artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Why? The reason very simple. Why we have made many studies along a number of years on how to improve production of a country. Okay, time and motion study, etc., etc., re-engineering of processes, etc. Artificial intelligence and this new technology is one excellent and efficient way on improving the production of a country. Once you improve the production of a country, then we are automatically improving the standard of living of all of us.
Right.
So it is extremely important. And this strategy, artificial intelligence, there are excellent examples. We have six. We have, first of all, we have nearly around 100 deliverables. But there are 6 main deliverables which are being used as an example on where we want to go.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. For example, we have one project whereby a road junction has been identified, and the traffic lights will work with artificial intelligence.
Right.
So the traffic lights won't change the color of the lights according to time,
Right.
but they will change the color according to the traffic that exists.
Right.
So there is no point, if there is a road which there is absolutely no traffic, there is no point in putting red when there's no traffic, you know. So the lights will work accordingly, and imagine
It will track the
exactly.
traffic.
It will track the traffic. If there is a road which there's a lot of traffic, then it will leave the green light longer to clear that. There's no point in changing it when the other road is empty. And imagine how much time you save for the users, how much time you save for the place of work, to go for the place of work, etc., etc. That is one example. Another example would be another project is that we're working on is having a software to be used in schools for 12-year-olds. And for example, it's individual. Each student will have a maths problem, you know, and this software will raise the level or lower the level according to the answers of the individual student. And I'm not saying that we will make away with the teacher, but we will assist the teacher during the class. And there are some 4 others like English language, like service.gov in order to automatically answer emails which are coming in, etc., etc. So it's really interesting, and hopefully this will fit in this AI strategy will fit in also within now. Malta will be launching also the digital strategy of the whole country. So it's interesting times, you know.
Yes, very interesting.
Yes.
And on the leading edge.
Yes.
And how does your certification, the MDIA's certification program, and the AI strategy link to financial services? Can you talk us through that?
Okay, very good. The financial sector, is going through a transformation through this new technology. Whether we like it or not, you know. There are a lot of exchanges which use blockchain, and MFSA are giving licenses. And where do we come in? There is synergy between MDIA and other entities. I'm not going to say MFSA only. There is a synergy with MGA. There is synergy with the health department. So we have synergy with many. But in the case of the financial sector, as you said, there is direct synergy. Why? Let me tell you one example. One example is that we're going to do certification, as I said, and widening our remit for cybersecurity.
Right.
Well, in that particular case, MFSA, probably because we're in discussion, will need this certification of MDIA.
Right.
Because MFSA cannot let investors and users use platform licensed by MFSA without any robustness checks on the software which investors are putting money in. And that is where we come in. In order to give more assurance, in order to give more reliability to the software which is being used, we come in and we do certification for cybersecurity.
Okay.
In the case of virtual financial assets, we're already, last week, MFSA issued a paper for consultation, whereby they will eventually make it a requirement to have MDIA certification in the case of virtual financial
Right.
assets.
Okay.
You know?
So for managers managing virtual financial assets.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And for users so that they will know that if they're going to invest their money, at least there is
Right.
certification that this software will not do something crazy.
Yes.
Okay, and their money which they put in will disappear.
Yeah.
Now I have to put a disclaimer here that when it comes to technology, there is no technology which is 100% safe. But at least you're safe that all the controls, okay, are in place to safeguard the money which you're putting and which you are investing over there.
Okay, very good. That's
you.
my final question. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
being with us.
Thank you for
Stephen
having me.
McCarthy from the MDIA.
Thank you very much.